Good morning, students. My name is Dr. Swapnil. शेयरिंग कर रखो नहीं कैसे क्यों कर ठीक है मैं वो रखता हूँ हम्म Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Swapnil Anil Gadve. I'm an assistant professor at Symbiosis School for Open and Distance Learning, Department of Symbiosis International, Dame University, Pune. Today, we are going to talk about the important terminologies in health insurance. So let's talk about the health insurance. First, we need to understand what Mediclaim is. So Mediclaim is the policy which offers the coverage up to the limit for hospitalization. And another term is health insurance. Health insurance is much broader term than the Mediclaim, which gave more comprehensive cover over the hospitalization. It covers the critical illness, ambulance, maternity expenses, etc. So you have to understand that in general, Mediclaim and health insurance are used interchangeably. But there is a fundamental difference between the Mediclaim and health insurance, where the Mediclaim only cover the hospitalization up to the certain limit. Health insurance is a much more broader term, and it also gives much more comprehensive coverage, which cover the critical illness, ambulance and maternity expenses, and even the OPD expenses also. So we have to differentiate between the Mediclaim and health insurance. So let's start with the other terminologies. Benefit packages, insurance. So benefit package is a return for contribution. So as we all know, we have to pay certain amount of premium for the health insurances. So health insurances in lieu of that premium gives us the benefit package. We have to understand that most of the time this benefit package contains the events that are low probability or frequency but at the high cost, like hospitalization. Benefit package also increases, the premium also rises proportionately. So you have to understand that more benefit provided in the packages, the premium of the health insurance is also rise proportionally. So in ideal package, there is a balance of consumer need, what exactly the consumer required, technical feasibility, administrative burden, and affordability of the package for the consumer and health insurance provider also. So to understand, the balance has to be maintained, that what exactly consumer need, whether consumer need a hospitalization because it's a huge cost, or require the OPD expenses, which is a low cost but at the same time there is a high frequency event, Then whether it's a technical feasible or it gives the administrative burden. For example, if any insurance covers the OPD, then OPD there are very high probability or high frequency event and very low cost event. So it is very administratively cumbersome, or it gives the extra administrative burden to provide the OPD package coverage for the health insurance. So we have to understand that administrative burden has to be balanced in a package, and then affordability of the package has to be maintained, in which it should be affordable for the provider and also for the consumer from the both side. Another terminology, hospitalization expenses. So what is hospitalization means? Hospitalization means in health insurance is the admission as an inpatient into the hospital for necessary medical treatment for a continuous minimum period of 24 hours. Here you have to understand that admission inpatient is necessary and it should be present there in hospital inpatient treatment, medical treatment for continuous minimum period of 24 hours. So continuous minimum 24-hour is a basic condition you have to fulfill. Most common component of the benefit package offered in India is hospitalization expenses. Then consequences of the illness or accidents occurred during the policy period is actually covered in hospitalization expenses. Not all hospitalization treatments are covered. We have to understand that though Mediclaim covers the hospitalization expenses, not all hospitalization treatments are covered. So what exactly it's covered? It covers the doctor's fees, diagnostic charges, medical costs, operation theatre charges, ICU charges, and hospital accommodation charges. So you have to observe here that registration charges or other amenity charges are not included. So in hospitalization, it actually only include the medical and doctor and nursing charges, hospitalization charges, medicine cost, diagnostic cost, and accommodation cost. And in case of the operation ICU, those charges are actually covered under the hospitalization expenses. So during the policy, when you have to look at certain medical policies or health insurance policies, you have to understand that what kind of expenses this policies contained. There can be some capping for some for some expenses. For example, certain policies only cover certain percentage of your sum assured for the accommodation. For example, if your policy is 5 lakh rupees, then only 1% of that, that is the 5,000 rupees per day charges of a hospital accommodation charges is only paid by the medical insurer. Rest of it is actually paid by out-of-pocket expenditure or bear by the out-of-pocket expenditure or by the co-payment. So you have to understand there is a certain capping. In ICU, there is a 2% where you can actually cover the 10,000 rupees per day charges. Any charges above that certain capping is actually paid by the customer. Then third, daycare procedures. So in medical insurance, any surgical procedure which is undertaken under the general or local anesthesia in hospital or daycare center, or in daycare center where discharge from hospital happen to be less than 24 hours is considered as a daycare procedure. So you have to understand any surgical procedure, it has to be undertaken under the general or local anesthesia. It should include the discharge from the hospital less than 24 hours, and treatment usually taken on outpatient basis is not included in the scope of this definition. So you have to understand that OPD based treatment is not included under the scope of daycare procedure. Insurance companies generally restricted coverage by providing the list of a daycare procedure. So if you look at any medical document or health insurance policy document, there is a list of surgeries which are actually covered by the daycare procedure is given by insurance company to avoid any confusion. Then outpatient treatment. Treatment given at a hospital, doctor's consulting room, office, or outpatient clinic is actually considered as an outpatient treatment. Processing claims and reimbursement for each outpatient visit is operationally intense. You have to understand that outpatient visit is very high frequency or highly occurring phenomena or event, and it is a low cost event. So processing such a claim can be very operationally intensive or labor intensive procedure. It can create a very extraordinary administrative burden over the claim processing faculty. So you have to understand that outpatient covers are excluded in India because we have a lack of data for price to these benefits correctly. And typical product in Indian market covers outpatient costs which are linked with the hospitalization. So typical healthcare policy covers pre-hospitalization up to the 30 days before and post-hospitalization, that is 60 days after the hospitalization. So any OPD visit before the 30 days of hospitalization and after the 60 days of hospitalization, it's covered under the outpatient treatment. But after that or before that, OPD charges or OPD cover, outpatient expenses is not covered in any healthcare policy in India. Then we have fifth, domiciliary treatment. So what is domiciliary treatment? In medical insurance, any medical treatment for more than period of exceeding 3 days for any illness, disease or injury, which is a normal course, would require care and treatment at the hospital, but it is actually taken while confined at home. Sorry, it's called as a domiciliary treatment. So you have to understand, to qualify the domiciliary treatment, it has to be a medical treatment exceeding 3 days, and you have to understand that it should be a medical condition for which the hospitalization is needed, but there is a condition where the patient is not able to remove to hospital, or there is a non-availability of the room in a hospital. So under these two conditions only, the domiciliary treatment is permitted under the medical insurance. Another term you will come across is pre and post hospitalization expenses. So what is pre and post hospitalization expenses? Any outpatient expenses leading up to the hospitalization, expenses for checkup, cost of medicine after the discharge, it's covered under the pre and post hospitalization expenses. So as I told you previously, pre-hospitalization expenses up to 30 days and post-hospitalization expenses up to 60 days is in general covered by any Mediclaim or healthcare policy in India. Now we are going to look at some technical terminologies. So I request you to please pay attention. There is something called as a risk taking. So risk taking is a system of determining the health insurance premium for each individual. So this risk taking method is actually based on a risk pursued by the insurer and extra risks posed by the particular individual over and above what is considered to be a standard rate. So there is a standard rate of premium for health insurance, but in risk rating, they have to consider for a premium this standard rate plus extra risks posed by the insurer and risk perceived by the insurer. So what is the extra risk which can be attributed by the individual? This extra risk can be calculated by the medical history, its occupation, lifestyle, and other individual characteristics. For example, if patient have a hypertension, diabetes, is more prone to have a cardiovascular diseases or stroke-like diseases. So extra premium charges are added to cover this risk. Or certain occupations are actually lead to the occupational hazards, like lead exposure in paint industry, or the vibration or joint related disease due to the people who are actually exposed to the vibrations or extra heat or extreme cold. So these occupational related hazard are actually increases the risk of certain diseases. So in that particular scenario, health insurance companies, they actually charge the extra premium because this particular occupation or their medical history is actually gives of the extra risk to the individual for certain type of illnesses. Then there's a lifestyle or other individual characteristics, for example, the obesity, extreme obesity, or any metabolic disorder which is present. So all these things are actually covered under the extra risk, which attributed to the individual cost while determining the health insurance, and this process is actually called as a risk rating. Now there is something called as a community rating. A system determining the health insurance premium for all individuals in community is actually called as a community rating. So community rating is based a cost of providing medical services to all people in the community without adjusting for an individual risk or medical history. So you have to understand that in community rating, we do not consider the extra risk posed by the individual or by their medical history, but we consider what is the cost of the medical service for providing the cost of the medical service for the particular community. So in community rating, there is another terminology which come across is called as a pure community rating. So same premium for every police bearer regardless of their age or sex or any indicator of health risk is given. It is called as a pure community rating. And there is another type, it's called as a modified community rating, where extra price could be charged only on a certain factor such as age or geographical region, but may charge uniform premium all over the indicators of health risk as occupation, sex, and smoking status. So you have to understand there is a customization of a premium based on the geographical location, age, or their occupation, sex, and smoking status. This is called as a modified community rating. Then there is another system, it's called as an income rating. So what is income rating? Income rating is a system of determining the health insurance premium based on incomes or wages of an individual. So what they do is a defined proportion of income is charged as a premium, irrespective of their health status of the individual. So this is mostly used where there is a government or state-owned insurance scheme is present. The most common example is ESI, that is the Employee State Insurance Scheme in India. Then there is something called as an experience rating. The method is used for individuals or group who have been covered for sufficiently long length of time to enable the insurance to assess the loss experience by access to the loss experienced by the insured. So basically in this experience rating, this method is actually used when the particular community or individual is actually covered for a long basis, and based on this long length of time when they insured, the insurer actually have, the company actually have an experience that what loss they have experienced insuring particular individual or group. So based on their previous claims or based on their previous claim experiences, the premium is actually revised. This particular method is commonly used for group insurance in India. The premiums are revised on a claim experience in a certain past. So let's suppose we have community A and community B. Initially, they are charging the same premium for both the communities or both the groups. But then in period of time, it was observed that claim ratio or claim number of claims per year in this particular group B is higher than that group A. In that particular scenario, after the 4 years or 5 years, the premium will be revised for the group B or A, and higher premium will be charged, which will be justified on the basis of the claim ratio of their previous 5 years. So for the retail market, however, insurers have not applied the regular experience rating based on the increase in premium. So as I explained you previously, it is good strategy for the group insurance or community insurance, but when it comes to the retail market or individual insurance, it is not applied. Then something called as an insurance certificate. Insurance certificate nothing but a paper which is serve as an evidence that contract of the insurance exists between the insurer and the health insurance provider. Then there is something called as a network or panelized hospital. So to provide the cashless facility, the health insurance company actually have panels of the hospitals, and all hospitals and daycare centers or other providers that insurance companies actually have a mutual agreement with to provide the services, more specifically the cashless services to the policy holders. It's called as a network hospitals or panel hospitals. Then there is something called as out of network hospitals. This simply means that any hospital or daycare center or any other provider that is not part of this panelized hospital or network hospital is called as an out of network hospital. In these hospitals, the cashless access to the policyholder is not generally provided. But after paying, the claim can be filed by the policyholders for the health expenditure or for the hospitalization. to the health insurance company. So it is not like that health insurance company is not going to provide the medical expenses for out of network or out of panel hospitals or daycare centers. It is just that they are not able to provide the cashless services because there is no mutual agreement between the hospital and out of hospital networks and health insurance companies to provide the cashless facility to the policyholders. Then there is something called as a pre-existing condition. Any condition, element or injury or related condition or conditions for which the insured person has a sign or symptoms and or were diagnosed and or received medical advice or treatment within 48 months prior to the first policy issued by the insurance company. So you have to understand that any element which is present 2 years before the first policy is issued by the insurance company is called as a pre-existing condition. For an example, if I have a diabetes from last 4 or 5 years and now I'm going to purchase a policy first time in my life, then the diabetes will be my pre-existing condition. Then 15 is a congenital anomaly. Any internal invisible or external condition which is visible or abnormal present since birth is called as a congenital anomaly. So any anomaly or any abnormality to be defined as a congenital should be present since birth, and it can be external which is visible, or it can be invisible and internal like hemophilia. So you have to understand the one term, what is the medical necessary or medical necessity. In health insurance, any treatment, test, medication or stay in hospital or part of a stay in a hospital which is required for a medical management of the illness or injury suffered by the insured must not is called as a medical necessity. This medical necessity must not exceed the level of care necessary provided for a safe, adequate and appropriate medical care in scope, duration or intensity. So you have to understand that medical necessary is only limited up to the safe, adequate and appropriate medical care for appropriate duration and with the appropriate intensity. And this medical treatment must be prescribed by the doctor. It should not be voluntarily taken by the patient. Must conform to the professional standard widely accepted in international medical practice or by the medical community in India. So you have to understand that any medical treatment provided by the doctors should be by the professional standard which are widely accepted in Indian international standard by the Indian medical community or international medical practices. For an example, any treatment which is assigned or which is sanctioned by the Indian Medical Association or approved by the Indian Medical Association or Indian Pediatric Association is called as a medical necessary. But any experimental treatment from the doctor's side it will not be qualified as a medical necessity because it is not approved or it is not standard professional practice. Now we are coming almost to the end of our presentation. There is something called as a reasonable and customary charges. So services or supplies which are the standard charges for the specific provider and consistent with the prevailing charges in the geographical area for identical or similar services. So you have to understand that reasonable or customary charges are charges which are provided for the services or supplies which are the standard charges for specific provider or consistent in that particular geographical area or identical with the similar services. For an example, in some health insurance policies, they have geographical locations, and for a single surgery, for same surgery, for example, for hernia, the for in Mumbai region, or that is region number 1 or region number 2, which is metropolitan area, or 3 non-metropolitan area, can be a different because of their geographical area. Co-payment. Now, a cost-sharing requirement under the health insurance policy that provides that insured will be bear a specific percentage of the admissible cost. So co-payment is where in health insurance they actually mention that particular percentage of an admissible cost should be paid by the insured person. For an example, if it's 2080, then any cost occurred to the patient, 80% will be paid by the health insurance policy provider and 20% will be paid by the person. That is called as a copay. Now there is something called as a grace period. A specific period of time immediately followed a premium due date during which a payment can be made to renew or continue a policy in force. This is simply means if your medical policy is ending today, they will give you the grace period for 30 days. So in that 30 days grace period, you will have a continuity benefits, you will have a coverage, okay, and you can actually continue your policy within this 30 days period without loss of your continuity benefits like waiting period for certain diseases or coverage of the pre-existing condition. Now something called as a waiting period. So waiting period is a time span during which you cannot claim some benefits of your health insurance from your insurance providers. That is, you must wait for a specific amount of time before make a claim. For an example, for pre-existing condition, you have to wait for minimum 48 weeks, 48 months, or minimum for 2 years or 4 years in some cases. In certain surgeries like cataract, appendectomy, or hemorrhoidal surgery, you have to wait for 2 years. So for 2 years, you cannot claim for surgeries like cataract, or 2 to 4 years for cataract, appendectomy, or surgeries like hemorrhoidectomy. In certain conditions or certain diseases or certain surgeries, this period can be extended up to 4 years. For an example, the joint replacement surgery, the waiting period is 4 years. For the 4 years, a health insured person cannot claim for joint replacement surgery to the health insurance company. Thank you. This is it. Now we are at the end of our presentation. I hope you understand the basic terminologies needed for the health insurance. Today, we look at the basic or maybe the important terminologies in the health insurance. We start with the Mediclaim and health insurance. We explain what is the basic difference between the health insurance and the Mediclaim. Then we look at the different terminologies like hospitalization expenses, daycare procedures, what is the domiciliary treatment, what is the risk rating, community rating, income rating, and also what called as a pre-existing condition, medical necessity, and copay, waiting period, and grace periods. So I hope you understand the important concepts that we in general use in health insurances. Please understand, due to the nature of a student or the qualification of the students involved in this particular diploma, we have the students from the non-health background. So I have to explain the basic healthcare terminology also in this presentation. Thank you very much. Now I request students, if they have any queries, they are welcome to write in the chat box so I can answer their queries. Okay, the first question I got from another, which is the anonymous. Please write your name so I can answer your query with your name also. If a patient is given over the fluids for say gastroenteritis and discharged the same day, the patient has not received any anesthesia. So we take it as a daycare admission or not? I'm afraid we are not going to take it as a daycare admission, as patient only receive the fluid, and the basic qualification or basic qualification for hospitalization terminology in health insurance is 24 hours continuous medical treatment in our hospitalization. So this particular patient is not getting 24 hours continuous medical treatment in hospital. So this is not qualified for hospitalization, and due to the daycare we only cover the surgeries. It is not receive any general or local anesthesia. It must go under any kind of the procedure. I'm afraid it is not qualify for receiving any kind of the reimbursement. Another question by the Anand, will we get this presentation on email? Anand, I'm afraid we are not going with this presentation on email, but this presentation eventually will be archived on the portal and you can access it to your LMS system. Another question, by the Raj Sanjeevani. Sir, as a cataract is an OPD surgery, will it come under the medical insurance? Of course, the cataract is a OPD surgery, but it goes under the patient goes under the anesthesia. It requires OPD. It is a daycare procedure, and it is actually paid. It is paid by the health insurance companies. If you look at the list of the surgeries which is come under the daycare, cataract is one of the surgeries which is commonly mentioned in any health insurance policy under the daycare. So yes, cataract is payable. Any other question? Yes, there is another question. I'm afraid I am not able to read the name. It is if it is important to do the surgery immediately, then how we can wait for a period of 2 years at any? So I'm afraid that if it's medical emergency, you have to do the surgery, but you will not get paid for the surgeries if you have come under the waiting period. For an example, if it is an emergency surgery for any of the surgeries which is covered under the waiting period, the medical or insurance company is not liable to pay for that surgery. So you can do the surgery, okay, but you will not get paid or you will not get reimbursed for that particular surgery, as by agreement with insurance agreement, insurance person's agreement with the insurance company, they have to wait for 2 years or 4 years or required period of time by the insurance company to get reimbursed for that particular surgery. Okay, this is not a question but a request from the Charita. Kindly show the slides from 1 to 3 again, so I can take a screenshot. Okay, I will repeat a few slides, but before that, Charita, give me some time. I will just have to answer some coverage. So do health insurance have a death coverage? I'm sorry, this question is by Jackson. Jackson, I have to explain you the health insurance is the different and life insurance is the different. There are two kinds of the insurance policies. One is called as general insurance and one is called as a health insurance. So in general insurance, we have a life insurance, general insurance and life insurance. So in general insurance, we come as a in life insurance they pay in case of the death. In health insurance, we do not pay for a death. In health insurance policies are only for hospitalization and the OPD related coverages. It is not in the case of a death. So lump sum amount which is paid in the life insurance policies. So please understand the terminologies. Life insurance and health insurance, these are two different types of the insurance policies. There is another question by anonymous person. In group policy, is it required to revise the premium every year? Actually, in standard situation, it's not. Okay, in general, what in group policy insurance companies do is they provide the particular premium for the group and they insure certain group. But if they get very high amount of the claim ratio, that is number of claim with respect to the number of person in the group in 2 to 3 years or 3 to 4 years continuously, okay, consistently, then they intend to revise the premium. It is not revised every year. I hope I answered your question. Then another question by the anonymous person. Can you please explain the insurance based on a community again with some example? Okay, understand? So basically, community insurance, let's say it's only for a particular community. For an example, the people who are working in a certain area. So there is a insurance policy specifically designed, a product insurance, health insurance product is particularly designed for that particular community. I will give an example. There is a particular health insurance product designed for the people who are working in a tea gardens. So tea garden workers have a special or customized health insurance policy which is specifically customized for them. In this particular policy, particular community, which is the community, the people who are working or laborers in tea gardens are actually insured under this particular health insurance product. So that is a perfect example of a community insurance. Or people living in a certain area are actually covered under the policy. So it is just an extension of a group policy where a large number of our community which share certain traits, that is geographical occupation, are covered under very specific health insurance product. It's called as a community insurance. Another question by the Anand. Okay, Anand, he wanted to know understand the concept of the capping. Like, okay, so capping is something which actually practiced by the health insurance companies very frequently. So what happened, Anand, is you get the health insurance policy of 5 lakh rupees. Okay, and now you have stayed in hospital for 5 days. Okay, and for 5 days you have been charged like 50,000 rupees. Now you will expect that as I have 5 lakh rupees coverage, so my 50,000 rupees should be paid in totality by the health insurance company. But it is not like that. What happened is there's 1% cap for the any expenditure for accommodation. So if you are taking the deluxe accommodation, so for example, it will take their hospitals are charging 7,000 rupees or 8,000 rupees for a deluxe accommodation. So your liability of the insurance company for 5 lakh rupees insurance is only a 5,000 rupees a day for the any kind of accommodation you are going to take. So what health insurance company will do is they will only pay the 5,000 rupees out of your 7,000 rupees accommodation expenses, and 2,000 rupees you have to pay from your own pocket. That is called as a 1% capping, and this capping goes to 2% in case you are actually admitted in a ICU. So if you are admitted in ICU for one day, for a day, then insurance company is liable to pay 10,000 rupees for your 5 lakh rupees sum assured. So this is a capping policy which are actually in general capping practices are followed for the accommodation and nursing charges by the health insurance companies. I hope, Anand, I answered your question. Another question is asked by the Radhika. As for waiting period, any surgical procedure, person need to wait for 2 years. Is it any emergency basis? Is any other option? I'm afraid there is not. And if you look at the list of the surgeries, Radhika, there are not any emergency procedures in general are actually included in this list. If you look at the surgeries like cataract surgery, hemorrhoidal surgeries, appendectomy surgery, these are the surgeries sometimes, not most of the times, are actually most of the times are not actually considered as emergency surgeries. As you know that medicines are available or patient can live with the certain condition for certain period. So these are surgeries are not only not the medical surgery or emergency surgeries, but there is no option if that particular surgery you need to go undergo is come under the 2 year or 4 year of waiting period, then insurance company is not liable to pay if you are going through the operation before the 2 years of your insurance period. Dr. Meenakshi, she want to explain the difference between the Mediclaim and health insurance. Meenakshi, as I told you, the Mediclaim is only restricted, and it's very narrow terminology where it's restricted only the hospitalization expenses, where health insurance is more broader terminology, where it also coverage is more comprehensive. In health insurance, they are also talk about covering the maternity expenses, covering critical illnesses, covering the charges like OPD charges which are not in general covered by the Mediclaim. So in general terminology, in general, Mediclaim and health insurances are used interchangeably, but technically Mediclaim only should talk about the hospitalization claim, and hospital insurance or health insurance is a comprehensive terminology which covers more than just the hospitalization. I hope I give the I satisfied your query, Dr. Meenakshi. Then there is another question by the Divya Agarwal. LASIK eye surgery is also done under the local anesthesia. So does it come under the health insurance? So, there is another terminology where today goes to medical necessity. Okay. So medical necessity is one of the terminology. So LASIK surgery, if it come under the waiting period, or the LASIK surgery which actually done to remove your number of your number, then this is not in general actually covered by the health insurance company. There is a term called as a medical necessary, that medical treatment is necessary. So if it is necessary, then and then only that particular surgery will be paid. LASIK is not, just like a plastic surgery. Plastic surgeries are not in general provided or under the health insurance unless and until it is a medical necessity. I will give an example. In plastic surgery, if plastic surgery is required for a patient after the burning incidents, then it will be paid by the health insurance. But if you go for a nose reduction or something like a liposuction surgery, which is medically not necessary, then those kind of surgeries, including the LASIK, are not a medical necessity, and that's why it is not paid by the health insurance. There is another question by the Purva. Informative session. Thank you. Thank you very much. Can you provide the example of a community rating category? So basically, community rating category is nothing but in a community, if they want to actually provide or they want to understand or decide the premium of certain community, they will not consider the individual's health risk in that particular thing. So for an example, if I'm taking a community, specific community, for example, the workers who are working in a certain area, sorry, with this particular community, I'm not going to now take the individual risk, whether this person is have a medical history of hypertension or diabetes, whether this person or this kind of a particular medical history, individual medical history is not considered while deciding the health premium for the health insurance. That is called as a community rating. So I will only consider that if I am going to provide the service for this medical services for this particular community, what expenses I have to face, and that will be the base for giving the or providing the or deciding the health premium for the this particular insurance for this particular health community. Sorry. Okay, there is another question by anonymous person. Can you highlight on waiting period? Why so much waiting period? So basically, as I told you, many surgeries which have a waiting period are in general are surgeries where people can actually take a medication. Medications are available to prolong the surgery or to postpone the surgery. For an example, the medicine available to postpone the surgeries of the hemorrhoids and piles or for appendectomy unless and until it's very emergency, and surgeries like cataract where patient can live up to certain years without any disturbance or functional disability. So this particular clause is provided so insured person cannot exploit, okay, the health insurance company. It can happen that I am suffering from cataract now, so after 5 months I'm going to take a policy, and after that I'm going to go through the cataract surgery. This thing can happen. Or maybe I'm having the problem with the hemorrhoids and piles, and I'm taking medication for that, and after 2 months I'm getting a policy, and after that I'm going to decide that okay, I will do the surgery for that. So in these scenarios, the people are going to exploit the health insurance company. So to avoid this exploitation, this waiting period is decided by the health insurance companies. Okay, suppose a patient is another question by the anonymous person. Suppose patient is a diabetic at the time of the insurance. Would be the insurance cover under for the expenses of the diabetic complication for retinopathy or nephropathy? I'm afraid if person is diabetic and it's in the first year of insurance, and if you have a history of a diabetes, it become a pre-existing disease. And I think there is minimum waiting period of 2 years or 4 years to include the pre-existing disease. So you have to wait, and in between these 3 to 4 years, any complications or any complications of the diabetes or in diabetes itself will not be covered under the health insurance. Okay, there is another question by the Kamira. Welcome Kamira, after a long time. How about the conditions regarding the contagious diseases? So basically contagious diseases in general, there are no capping and there is no waiting period because anyone, no one can actually exploit based on the contagious diseases or infectious diseases. So, there is no waiting period for the contagious diseases or infectious diseases in general. The coverage for an infectious disease will be start after the, I think 15 days or 10 days after the insurance policy is actually issued. In sometimes they also have a 1 month of waiting period, but they cover in general all the infectious diseases as soon as policy is released. Only in case of the infants, they have to wait for 3 months. Some patients, another question by Dr. Sonal, some patients are insist to hide pre-existing disease. Can we or not? So yes, Sorry, Dr. Sonal, patients are actually trying to hide pre-existing diseases. Okay, in that particular case, if there is a suspicion, claim department actually try to summon the medical history of a patient, so they can get some idea. They try to summon the records of the medicine person is taking, so they can understand whether he's taking medicine for any kind of disease which can be a pre-existing diseases. So this kind of inquiry is actually conducted by the claim department or investigation department to avoid such discrepancies or such exploitations by the patients. Anonymous, can you please show the first couple of slides? Yes, I will show you a couple of slides. Please have a patience. Okay, first I have to answer the questions. I hope I'm answering your questions satisfactorily. There's another question. There is question by Vanita. If we doesn't get any health issues in our life, it is possible to get back any amount which we paid for the health insurance. No, they insured you for that particular period and that money goes. It is not a money back policy. Okay, so you will not get any money you paid for that. Then there is another question by Anonymous. A person is discharged. I hope, Vanita, I answered your question satisfactorily. Another question by Anonymous person. A person is discharged from the hospital a month ago and want to apply for health insurance first time in your life to get benefits in future treatment. Can he get? Yes, of course he can get, but he will not get. He will not get the benefits of the. He will not get reimbursement for the hospitalization, which is actually covered before the insurance period. After that, he can actually get the benefit for the treatment. Another question, anonymously, if someone gets a waiting period surgery done, let's say knee replacement, will that someone be reimbursed after 4 years? No, the waiting period means you have to wait for that surgery for 4 years and not for reimbursement, but you have to wait after 4 years. If you do that surgery, then and then only insurance company is liable to pay you for that particular surgery. Okay, it is not like that you are going to surgery for this year and then you will apply for the reimbursement after 4 years. It is not like that. I have to tell you another thing, that according to the policy, you have to file. Okay, you have to file claim for any kind of a hospitalization within a 60 days of your hospital. 30 days of your hospital discharge. So if you are discharged at the 1 September, you have to file your claim up to 30th September. After 30th September, they will not entertain your claim. There is another question by Mr. KP Singh. How can an employee increase the amount of health insurance policy which is provided by the employer? So that depends where that flexibility is allowed in by your employee or not. But the best option is you can take another health policy of your individual, which will be your individual health policy, and in that you can actually increase the amount of your health insurance policy. For example, your employee is providing you for the only 1 lakh of insurance, health insurance. You can actually opt for a private health policy, individual health policy, and you can actually increase your SI according to your need. Okay. Can you please? And there is another question by Mitanshi. Can you please explain copay again? Okay, copay is what happened is, in health insurance, there is sometime it happened that, okay, there's agreement between the health insurance company and the person who is insured is if any hospitalization happened. Okay, there is a distribution of a percentage which will be, well, that percentage will be given by the insurance company and percentage will be paid by the patient. For example, if there is 80-20% copay, then 20% will be paid by the insured person and 80% of hospitalization charges will be paid by the health insurance company. For example, if there is 1 lakh rupees of hospitalization expenses, in that particular case, 20% will be paid by the, that is 20,000 rupees will be paid by the insured person and 80%, 80,000 will be paid by the health insurance company. You have to understand this copay system is not that prevalent in India. Okay, it is mostly in the health insurance. In US, there is a lot. There are many health insurance companies which practice the copay system. Okay, here whatever we pay, our expenses we pay after the claim is processed are the pay which is not covered by the hospitalization. For example, registration charges, administrative charges, any charges for the linen, any charges for the non-medical expenses or non-diagnostic expenses, which are actually paid by the patient, insured person himself. This is not a copay. Okay, copay is something which is actually right in terms of the percentage of expenditure in your health policy. Another question by the Jyotishri. How do we define the cashless? Cashless insurance is an insurance. Cashless insurance is not an insurance. Okay. First, you have to understand cashless is a facility which is provided by the insurance company, and technically it is provided by the TPA, that is the third party administration. Third party administration is something which is the insurance company hire one administrative company, okay, outsource the work of the cashless claims to that third party company. So we'll understand if you get the health, if you ever see the health insurance card, you will see the name of TPA like Raksha or MD India, something like that. So these are the TPAs who are actually giving you the cashless facility. So insurance company is actually providing the cashless facility, and the cashless facility is defined as where you can actually get the treatment which is pre-approved by the this TPA or health insurance company without paying any charges. Okay, so that cashless facility is provided by the health insurance company in the panel hospital only. I hope Jyotishi you understand and I satisfied your query. Another one by Jackson. Do health insurance only cover for modern medicine treatment or for any system of medicine? Okay, it depend or it's very policy to policy. Okay, so for some policy they cover the modern another system of medicines, but only some percentage, like 20% or 40% for the Ayurvedic or homeopathic medicines. Some policies only cover for Ayurvedic medicine for 50% or for 20% of the Ayurvedic medicine. Some policies don't pay for homeopathic medicine, they only pay for the Ayurvedic treatment, that is also for 50 to 60%. So it's very according to the policy. You have to read the policy document before purchasing any health insurance, whether they pay for any alternative system of medicine, if pay, what percentage they are going to pay. Okay, another question by the Kanaklata. What points I should keep in mind while insuring the health? Okay, so basically few points you have to understand that whether there is a copay or not, what kind of a capping is there for any kind of expenses for an admission, what kind of a charges are payable or not, what kind of a diseases are come under the waiting period, what is the waiting period for the pre-existing diseases, okay, and the number of hospitals, whether it covers the major hospitals in your area for the cashless facility or not, and what is the responsive period for their cashless facility, which TPAs they are used, what is the quality of work the TPAs are provided. All this point you have to keep in while actually purchasing any kind of a health insurance policy. I hope Kanaklata I have provided the satisfactory answer. Another question which is anonymous: if patient get admitted having sickness since 10 days post COVID and get only medicine in hospital, will insured person will pay for only medicine after hospitalization is more than 24 hours? I don't understand whether you are going to say the scenario where 10 days of post COVID and getting only medicine in hospital. Okay, I will tell you the first scenario. Patient is actually having COVID. For COVID, he is not hospitalized. Okay, but in post COVID, he is actually suffering from certain like breathlessness or maybe due to the complication. He have an organ failure and he have to hospitalize. In that particular scenario, he will get paid for that particular hospitalization period. Another scenario, patient have a COVID and he is not admitted for a COVID, but for post-COVID period also he is not admitted. In that scenario, any expenses or medicinal expenses will not be paid by the health insurance company. Scenario number 3, patient is having COVID and after COVID, during the time of the COVID, he was hospitalized in the hospital. He was getting a treatment. He will get the reimbursement or cashless provider facility for the COVID period. And then if the post-COVID period is between 60 days, he will get the OPD expenses if patient is not admitted for a post-COVID period for the up to 60 days under the post-hospitalization care. Okay. I hope you answered your query. Then there is another query of Jackson from Jackson. As continuation to my first question of a death coverage, what is the procedure usually followed in case of the death occurring in the course of the treatment or during the surgery? So basically, if death occurred during the treatment or surgery, the hospitalization expenses are paid by the health insurance companies. You have to understand that these are the hospitalization expenses or expenses for the surgeries. Okay, there is no lump sum amount paid as it got paid in a life insurance policy. Okay, Jackson, I hope I understand. I actually provide satisfactory answer to your query. Then there is anonymous or bariatric surgeries are covered. Again, there is no blanket ban on a bariatric surgeries, but if bariatric surgery is a medical necessity of, let's suppose there is a major ulcer and you have to go through the bariatric surgery, then it's covered. But the bariatric surgery is covered because just because he is obese, then it's not covered under the medical necessity. Okay, so medical necessity clause actually prevent to pay for a bariatric surgery in that scenario. Jyotishri, is maxillofacial surgery is covered under the insurance claim or the dental treatment is excluded? Okay, maxillofacial surgery is a surgery which actually is conducted under the general anesthesia. So it actually covered under the surgery. Okay, so it's a surgery, it's not OPD based treatment. So that's why it's actually covered under the maxillofacial surgery. And dental treatment, actually there is a separate dental insurance is product is actually available in market which covers for the dental treatment. Though the dental treatment is excluded in health insurance. The question by Vijeta. Does patient is eligible for applying 2 claims for single diagnosis? For example, if patient is operated for cardiac disease, does he eligible for the medicine and healthcare? Yes, of course, he can do. For single diagnosis, it's not like that he's paid for the certain diseases for a single time only. As many times he's hospitalized, he's get paid by the health insurance company. Sorry. Okay. There is another question by Vino. If I would like to take health insurance, which company is the best for ideal package? Could you please suggest me? Okay, Vino, it depends on your particular needs. Okay, I will not suggest any particular company, but you have to go through the policy documents of the several companies which are online available, and according to your need, you have to select the ideal package. Okay, you have to look at the waiting period. You have to look for the which surgery have a capping, which surgery have a copay, how much exactly pay, and how much premium is paid for per lakh by which policy. Okay, Dr. Shimona, thank you for such informative. Thank you for being patient and listening to my lecture. Another question by Anand. Anand here says, if we are not aware of the pre-existing disease, how the insurance company deal with it. So basically, if you are not aware, then it not qualify as a pre-existing disease. That is the bottom line. Okay, if you go into the hospitalization at the time you get diagnosed with the diabetes, and that is the time where the diagnosis of the diabetes come in your medical record, it is not be considered as a pre-existing disease. Okay, so pre-existing is a disease which you are aware only. If you are not aware, of course, insurance company will not be aware. So it is not a possibility. So it is, you have to understand that pre-existing condition is the condition which is previously diagnosed and you are getting treatment for that. Then and then only it considered as a pre-existing disease. Would you ever take a COVID? Basically, COVID, there is no need to take a separate COVID insurance policy. In general, as far as my understanding is, every healthcare insurance policy covers the COVID. Okay. Another question by Kamira. Are there legal rights of the patient regarding insurance money? Yes, of course. Any discrepancy, you can first go and file the report to the insurance company itself or to the TPA. If you are not satisfactory with the answer, you can go to the IRDA, you can file the complaint with IRDA, or you can go to the consumer court. Okay, you have a legal right in every insurance matter. Okay, there is another anonymous question. Are there any no claim bonuses for health insurance like in car? Yes, there is something called as a CB, cumulative bonuses. So what insurance company do is they will give you certain amount, add the certain amount in SI every year for a every no claim year. So if you take 1 lakh rupees insurance and for first year you will not have any kind of a claim, then for next year you will be paying the same amount, but your coverage will be for 1,10,000 rupees. The 10,000 rupees will be the community bonus which is added. Anand, there is a question by Anand. Suppose I have diabetes, I don't know it and taking no medicine, then it is not considered as a pre-existing disease. Anand, for disease should be pre-existing, it should be diagnosed, and it should get treatment for that. Anonymous, for knee replacement, how do you prove you have waited for 4 years? So basically, you have to provide the health insurance document for the 4 years. If you are in continuous, you are purchasing medical policy from one insurance company continuously for 4 years. In the 5th year, you can show that I'm insured by this particular health insurance company for 4 years. I'm in the 5th year, so I'm going through the knee replacement surgery, and I'm qualified for the reimbursement for it or for the cashless surgery. Anonymous question: if anyone got diabetes after getting health insurance, he have it to inform the insurance company as he get disease after the 5 years. So basically, in general, you have to, but you have to, or at the time of the hospitalization in medical history, you have to mention that you are got diagnosed with the diabetes after getting the health insurance. So, and most of the time health insurance company only know about you have certain diseases when the medical history is checked by the health insurance person. So Praveen Kishore, why consumables are not included in some insurance? So basically consumables are not only the medical essentials and diagnostic essentials are actually paid by the insurance company. Consumables like gloves, linens, or any other medication which is not part of the medical treatment are in general are not included because it gives the extra financial burden to the insurance company, and that's why they are not covered. The patient have to pay from his out of pocket expenditure. Okay, Devendra, I will try, but you have to understand that we are not emailing right now. Our lecture, it will be loaded in the archive and you can access to the LMS in meantime. There is a question by the there is a question: can a person claim for any one hospitalization procedure for 2 health insurance providers? Okay, basically you have to claim only to the one health insurance provider for the one claim only. You can't file 2 different claims for one procedure or one hospitalization. My question isn't answered. Can you please repeat the question? Because you are anonymous. Okay, so I'm not able to get what exactly which question is not yet answered. So I request you to please answer, repeat the question. There is another question by anonymous person. If a person has 2 policies, can claim be settled by both insurance? No, basically, if you have a 2 policies of 1 lakh rupees and your hospitalization expenses are actually more than 1 lakh rupees, in that scenario you can cover with 2 different policies. But if the policy your health expenses are covered under only one policy, then you cannot file to claim to do different policies for the same amount. You understand? Okay, the 65 years, their medical insurance policy, who have here, can the family add their parents? So basically what I understand from this question is if person's family or family members are above the age of 65 years, basically for 65 years or more than 65 years people who are actually more than 65 years, there is a special medical policy or special health insurance policies provided by the health insurance policies, health insurance policy for elderly. Okay, that can be purchased. And it is differ actually by product by product. Some insurance company are actually allow the family members who are more than 65 years, some not. If you have a corporate insurance, they may allow, but in individual policy they don't allow. So you have to purchase a different policy. Mostly the policy specific policy for the elderly in case your parents are above 65 years. Okay, sir, MTP surgical abortion covered under the health insurance, and how does one ensure the patient confidentiality is maintained under the MTP Act? Okay, so but I'm afraid whether MTP is actually covered to in totality in health insurance or not. I have to get back to you. Okay, I think when I'm going to load this particular presentation, please keep your eye. I will give the explanation along in the last slide along for this particular question. Another question by Anonymous. Okay, if you have a two health insurance policies of a different company, how do you claim? As I told you, okay, if you have a health expenditure which can be covered by the single policy, you can file in one of the health insurance policy. But if it is expenditure more than that, then first you file the major claim with the one policy, and then you file the additional claim with the another policy. Okay, I will share the slides. Okay, there is another question by the Sabri. Do we have to go to particular hospital provided by the insurance company? Okay, for cashless facility, you have to go to particular panel hospital because they have contract with the health insurance companies. But for claim or but you can reimburse. Okay, you can get a reimbursement for any treatment for any hospitalization at any hospital, as far as it qualifies as a hospital. Then another question by Shivani is psychiatric treatment is covered under the Mediclaim. I'm afraid I think psychiatric treatment right now is not covered under the Mediclaim because most of the time, if it's a hospitalization and it's give the medication, then it may be covered, but it can covered, but if it's the OPD based treatment, then it's not covered. I'm really sorry, I'm not able to understand this question. D65 years, their medical insurance policy who have CR. I'm really sorry, I'm not able to understand what the question is. And there is, does hypertension come under the, yes, of course, hypertension come under the disease. Okay, so you have to understand that hypertension is actually considered as an illness, and this particular illness is actually covered in the, it can come under the pre-existing category also if it already diagnosed and take a treatment for. Then another question by the Shabri, do we have to go to the particular hospital provided by? Yeah, I told you Shabri already that if you are going to access for the claim for the cashless facility, then you have to go for the impanel hospital. If you are not, then you can go to any hospital. Then you can pay from your own pocket, and then you can go for reimbursement to the any insurance company. Now I am going to share few slides. Okay, so first here I am explaining the Mediclaim and health insurance. Then benefit packages in health insurance. What exactly ideal balance is achieved? How the ideal balance is achieved in the benefit package? Then what is considered as a hospitalization? What is qualified as hospitalization? What cover under the hospitalization expenses is explained in this particular slide. Then here I have explained what is daycare procedures are, which surgical procedures are considered for daycare, and what qualify. So two things, it has to be goes under the general or local anesthesia and discharge within 24 hours. Then what is considered as an outpatient treatment? That is OPD based treatment. Okay. There is another question by Shweta. Is cancer is covered? Yes, Shweta, cancer is covered if it is not pre-existing, or it is not if it's not pre-existing or previously diagnosed and got a treatment for. Then cancer is also covered under the medical policy. Any other question? I hope I have given the satisfactory answers to your questions. I'm very happy with the response I got from you. Do you people are actually satisfied with my answer? Please reply in the chat box. If you have any other questions, you are more than I will be more than happy to answer your questions. There is another question by the Krishna. If person get admitted in a hospital for one health treatment procedure, but he has an insurance policy from two health insurance companies, then can he claim in both companies, or can he? Krishna, you have to understand that he can claim for only one company for one hospitalization. Okay, and in only the scenario where your amount of health insurance by first company is exhausted and still there is expenses, then you have to file the additional claim with the second company. Okay, so first you have to file with the one company only, and then if there is additional expenses still occur, and after exhausting your first insurance company insurance medical insurance company, then you can actually go for a second insurance company. Sorry, for an example, if your expenses is 2 lakh rupees, you are actually covered by the 2 lakh rupees by one policy and 2 lakh rupees by another policy. You can file with the first one of the insurance one of the health insurance company, and that particular company will give you the cover for your 2 lakh rupees expenses. But if you have a 4 lakh rupees or 3 lakh rupees of expenses, then company's liability is only of 2 lakh. So you can file first claim with the one company, it will give you expenditure up to the 2 lakh rupees, and for rest of the amount you have to file the additional claim with the another company. That way you can actually combine and you can file your claim and you can cover your health expenses with two different policies. I hope Krishna I answered your query. Please respond. Is there any another question? I will be more than happy to answer your question. Please comment how do you find today's lecture. We will be more than happy to answer your queries. We will be happy to receive the response from you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Devendra, Anand, Raj Sanjivani, Dr. Rupali. So if you want to contact me, my email ID is on our website. Okay, I will be more than happy to answer your queries by email also. Okay, Krishna, I'm happy that you are satisfied with my answer. Dr. Devendra is actually asking questions. Some insurance company reject a claim on basis that this is what was declared at the time of the renewing the policy. Does cataract falls in this category? Yes, actually cataract falls in this category. If you are not, and there is a waiting period for a cataract, okay. So we have to announce if you have certain diseases at the time of the renewing of the policy. That is actually a procedure for the health insurance company to avoid the extra claim of the burden or the first or to manipulate the insurance system. This kind of what we called this kind of this kind of a this kind of a procedures they actually use. You have to announce your pre-existing diseases that you are even getting a treatment for or that you are aware of, okay, before renewing the policy. Okay. Okay, I have shared my published my email ID. Do you get my email ID? Please write if you have any queries on my email ID. Okay, thank you very much. You still have any queries? I will be more than happy to answer your queries. Thank you, Shabri. Thank you, Jackson. Thank you for your reply. Thank you, Krishna. Thank you, Kamira. And thank you, Anand, for your contribution to the class. And thank you for all anonymous content participants for their active interaction. Anand, I think I have. Please look at the published. I have published my email ID in the published section. So do you get my email ID? Okay, my email ID is ASSIT professor@ssodl.edu.in. You can find my email ID on the SSODL website. Okay, this is a question by the Jackson. Can claim be made for health condition coming as an adverse effect of any clinical trial? Actually, clinical trial is very different scenario. Okay, in clinical trial, what happened is, if there is an adverse event of the clinical trial, the health condition or the expenses of the health that particular treatment for the adverse event is a responsibility of the sponsor of that clinical trial. Okay, so in general, the sponsor take care of the adverse event or expenses occurred by the adverse event. Health insurance companies are not liable in that particular scenario, as you can understand. Thank you, Shivani, for your reply. Okay, anyone? Anyone have any question? Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this interactive session. Okay. See you on the next lecture. Bye.